Hey, I'm Dave Wright. I'm chairman of Victor Hiking Trails, and today we're going to show you some trails at Ganondagan, the state historic site. Ganondagan is a New York State historic site that is dedicated to preserving the history of the Iroquois Indians in New York State. We currently have over 70 miles of trails in Victor. Some of those are in town parks or today State Park, and some of those trails are on private property. I encourage you to subscribe to this channel so you can learn about all the trails in Victor. The Visitor Center at Ganondagan is located at 7000 Fountain Hill Road. This museum is open Wednesdays through Saturdays. As you tour around the facility, you'll see many history signs that talk about the living conditions and life, what life was like for the Iroquois. Today we're going to take a loop hike around the perimeter of this section of the park. It's about 300 acres here in Victor, and the trail is made up of a group of different trails with different names that you can see on their map. Ganondagan has a wonderful website with information about the Senecas and why this piece of property is so important. Throughout the park, on the trails, you will see interpretive signs that talk about the Iroquois and the Seneca. This is a replica of the bark houses that were once here in this village. There were as many as 500 of these bark houses in this one location. We are walking north from the bark house, commonly known as the Longhouse. We're heading to where the French came up through the valley from Arundecoit Bay. They were not friendly with the Seneca. The Senecas were trading with the English. The French didn't like that, so they came across Lake Ontario, came into Arundecoit Bay with a mission to eliminate the Seneca. So this is looking north down into the Valley of Victor. And in 1687, in July, the French marched up through this valley to this location and basically drove away the Seneca. We're going to walk down this service road. It's along the eastern property of the park. There are several entrances to the park. The park is free, no charge for coming into the trails. This parking lot is located on Route 444, which, if you follow it to the north, becomes Maple Avenue in the village of Victor. At all of the entrances to the park, you will find maps that show the trails, as well as some of the history and the flora and fauna that you might see in the park. From the Longhouse to this parking lot is 0.6 of a mile. There is a trail that continues straight up and goes through the meadow heading west, but we're going to take this trail to the right. Now we are connecting up to the Seneca Trail. It's at the northern property line of the park. If you were to follow the trail to the right, you will eventually come up to the Auburn Trail. And if you continued on the Seneca Trail beyond that, eventually you will come to the Victor Perrington town line. But we're going to go to the left, stay in the park, and follow this trail, which was initially developed by Victor Hiking Trails. Most of the trails in the park are what you see here. They're wide, grassy trails that are maintained by the Ganondagan Park staff. At this intersection, you can go straight and beyond the well-maintained trails that the staff takes care of, or you can go to the right, which we will do, and beyond a section of the trail that Victor Hiking Trails developed and still maintains. This section of the trail is through the woods. It's easier to maintain, but it also has some hills to it, so you should be prepared for that. This section of the trail is denoted by the red blazes, and I would like to mention that these sections that we're showing today, these trails are not available for bike riders, and that's per Ganondagan and their state rules. In this area, there are springs coming out of the side of the hill, and we have made some French drains to direct the water off the trail, but there are still some wet sections along the trail. If you had elected to go straight a while back, this is where the trail would come back and meet up with the trail that I'm currently on. So you can see the trail is grassy, wide trail, and this will continue on as a narrow trail. This is one of several bridges and boardwalks that have been built in Ganondagan by scout troops. This one was under the direction of Connor Reese and Troop 60 in the summer of 2014. Here you will note that the trail makes a sharp turn to the left. It's private property to the right, and if you go straight, you will go down a steep hill to Great Brook. This is also the farthest location from the Longhouse, and we have gone a distance of 1.4 miles, and that's about 0.8 of a mile from the parking lot on Route 444. Off to my left is the yellow trail that will take you out into the meadows and eventually hook back up with the red trail. This is where we're going to stop following the red and blue trail, and we're going to follow the green trail off to our right. This boardwalk was installed by the Ganondagan Park staff. They did a great job. Well, we come out to an intersection that if you follow to the right, you go across the bridge, across Great Brook, out to School Street, and then across the street is Fort Hill, which is also part of Ganondagan. But we're going to be following the red trail again, going back up towards the visitor center and parking lot. So far we have come 1.9 miles. Well, we just climbed a good hill, and you can understand why the Seneca would have a village in this location. You have great views in all directions, so you could see who is coming to visit you. At the top of the hill, we come to this intersection. You can see where the red trail came from. It's our Seneca Trail. We're going to continue on towards the south and pick up one of the other trails that leads back to the parking lot, and there are several. Off to the right is another great view spot. We're going to continue to the left. As we approach the top of the hill, you begin to see the visitor center, and we're going to be taking the trail to the right. If you went to the left, you would go back to the longhouse, but we're going to head towards the parking lot. The total distance for our loop hike was 2.5 miles. Hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to give us a like and be sure to join our channel by hitting the subscribe button. Have a great day.